Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our conference today on developing a family-friendly workplace, adapting practice and enhancing productivity. As a brief note of introduction, my name is Kieran Cole, and I'm a member of the Dods D&I team, and will be in the background along with my colleagues to give you any technical support. With that in mind, if you do have any technical issues throughout the day, please do message us via the chat. Please also ensure that you address this to all our panelists. Equally, if you would like to send any comments through to our speakers, please do so via the chat again. At the end of each session, we will have an opportunity to ask our speakers any questions. If you'd like to submit these questions, please do so through the Q&A function, which you'll see at the bottom of your screen. And with that in mind, and with that, I'd like to pass over to our chair, Claire Gold, who will be leading the discussion today on this very important topic, and we'll welcome our fantastic line of speakers. Over to Claire.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to have you all here. Welcome to all of our delegates tuning in and to our guest speakers who will be taking us through today's subject matter of the conference. There's a lot of interest in today's subject, and I'm excited about the conversation we're going to be having because it's quite close to my heart. I hope you have all your delegate packs to hand and your agendas. So yes, as Kieran said, my name is Claire Gold and I'll be your chair for today. I'm a trainer consultant at Crystal Alliance, where we involve to evolve, our specialism being in diversity and inclusion. I have over 15 years experience as a trainer consultant. I'm also a counsellor with my own private practice in Pimlico. I've spent much of my working life working with families or with those professionals who support them and their children. My particular lens is through that of mental health and well-being. I have worked in outreach through the Maudsley Hospital in South London as part of a project called Empowering Parents and Empowering Communities. And I'm currently a project manager at Young Minds, the UK's leading mental health charity for young people and the professionals that work with them. It seems I like to have a lot of jobs, which makes life pretty interesting and busy. I'm an ambitious woman. I have kids of my own, and so I'm constantly juggling with my own family life. My kids are aged 10 and 12, and my partner works in the NHS. I have elderly parents, and I have friends going through difficult times during these last few months. Life is busy, and especially this year. So throughout today, we will be exploring some of what that might mean for us all, starting very aptly with the family-friendly working in the new normal. We'll be looking at then going into exploring flexible working and how we ensure the provision of those family-friendly options. The personal experience of a father who has had shared parental leave. We will then be thinking about facilitating the return to work for new parents, but also in this time of COVID. And what kind of support needs to be provided for all different kinds of families. We'll be having some thoughts and some speakers speak to that also. And really, we'll also be thinking about ending our conference with championing change and through advocating and normalising family-friendly practices and choices amongst men and fathers before we move into our closing remarks and ending our day at 3:30. Throughout the day, I'll be introducing the panellists before their session, and they'll be able to explain a bit more about themselves as we go on. There will be a lunch break at 1 for an hour and comfort breaks throughout the day. During these breaks, we recommend you turning off your video and muting your microphones to have some privacy and comfort. And I would really encourage you throughout the day to move and stretch as needed to support your engagement and to be comfortable throughout the course of the day. I just need to outline a few housekeeping points. Each session is being recorded and the videos of the day will be provided to you all a few days after the event. Speaker slides will also be uploaded to the conference website a few days afterwards, with the link sent round to all of you after this event today. In the delegate pack, you will find your agenda, your speaker bios, and any additional content. And if there are any delegates with any technical issues, please refer back to your joining instructions, or you can email conference.admin@dodsgroup.com. Alternatively, delegates, as Kieran said previously, may use the chat function in Zoom and message panelists and host. And the QA function will be used at the end of each speaker for the Q&A sessions throughout the day. Please ask your questions here throughout each session and not in the chat box, because then we can see who's coming in first, and we can also ensure the most popular questions are asked and answered. I will be moderating the Q&As as well as briefly introducing everyone and discussing, as we discuss making flexibility work in our current climate. So 2020 has been quite a year so far. It started with wildfires in Australia, and I don't know if any of us really remember that now. COVID-19 has forced employers, organisations and institutions to rapidly adopt a flexible approach to working, whilst also bringing hardship, instability and lots of different kinds of loss for many or even most. The Black Lives Matter movement has increased the sense of urgency and emergency that racism, white supremacy and injustice must be faced and challenged. And there's the ongoing saga of Brexit, let's not even go there. And now parents are worrying about their children returning to schools or not, continuing schoolwork at home, managing closures, are concerned about vulnerable family members, juggling work, and the strain this puts on all of their resources, both material and personal. In fact, my youngest this week has been at home due to a child in her class testing positive for COVID-19. So this is a very live issue for me. We've also had a surge in activities like wild swimming, kayaking, couch to 5K. People are cooking more. People are returning to forgotten interests. People are spending more time with loved ones in their household. We've become acutely more aware of our well-being and happiness during these tough times. And creating a family-friendly workplace supports our happiness and our well-being because it allows parents to engage more fully at home and at work and has great benefits to productivity, well-being, staff loyalty and retention. Before this year, there has been a steady increase in the rise of the work-life balance agenda. There's been many books and studies published on this subject. In the new economy from the late 80s onwards, there's been an increase in working longer, harder and less predictable working patterns and more unsociable hours with ongoing inequality. There's been more women in the workforce, but despite this, despite there being increased dual salaries, the cost of living has risen faster than household income, especially for the poorest in our societies. Women are still bearing the roles of the home whilst working, which our first session will outline in more detail. And the outcome being that we are living with a complex, gendered, multivariable juggling act where workers have finite resources of time and energy. This advantages us all in the workplace and robs us of time with ourselves, our partners, our children, extended family and friends. The bottom line is that family-friendly policies give families, parents, the support and flexibility they need to raise healthy, happy children, which benefits parents, kids, and society as a whole. Family-friendly policies and practice in the workplace play a vital role in keeping children and families out of poverty. They support and enable working parents to reconcile family responsibilities and work demands so they can do the important job of raising their families. We know through research that there are 3 things that working parents need, which are addressed through these policies. That's time, financial resources, and services. These measures are especially important for low-income workers and those in more precarious employment, because typically these employers and workers lack access to many of those benefits despite the fact that they need them the most. This requires action from a large range of stakeholders. If we want to redesign the workplace, we need governments, businesses, civil society and parents to come together to put these policies at the centre. This will help create an environment that allows parents to be productive employees and provide for their children to ensure that they help realise their fullest potential. If we are going to build back better, what would the domestic COVID response look like, especially for those most vulnerable, especially if national childcare support had previously already been in place? Child and family-friendly policies must be the foundation of our COVID-19 recovery. We cannot reopen economies fully without caring for children and their families, without showing kindness and compassion for caregivers. Changing the pre-COVID status quo must also include dismantling stereotypes and expanding opportunities for caregivers of all genders to be present for children from their earliest moments. As Carlos Javier Gil, co-chair of the Parental Leave Corporate Task Force, put it, one of the missions of this task force is to provide resources for families and dads to experience the transformative effect of childcare and the benefits that men-involved childcare has for gender equality at home, at work, and in society. Even though the coronavirus has presented substantial challenges, it has also illuminated positive opportunities for shaping our lives at home, our future, and the future of work. Namely, working cultures must be founded in compassionate relationships between employers and employees, broadening understanding of what working life and employee pools can and should look like, and affirm that holistic employee well-being, including mental health, is critical for all of our success and survival. COVID-19 has perhaps more importantly driven home that family-friendly policies are not a nice-to-haves. They are matters of economic importance and resilience for families, companies and governments alike. Leading the charge back to build back better requires collaboration across sectors to reimagine a future where the needs of every child are put front and centre in policies that support working parents in and out of the workplace.